massive election scandal rocks Alabama. Now someone is headed to prison. When it comes to elections, some people will do anything to win. Voter fraud was a huge issue during the presidential election, where we heard stories of Hillary voters voting multiple times and buses of people flooding into key counties to cast the votes. With news this week of Roy Moore refusing to concede the Alabama Senate race, where he's now filing a lawsuit into a fraud that was discovered, things have just taken an even more drastic turn. An Alabama state official has just been caught in massive voter fraud, and now someone is on the way to prison for a long time. It seems like each election cycle we see evidence of some sort of voter fraud, and during the Alabama Senate race many signs were there. Freedom Daily exposed how in a shocking 11th hour order, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled the counties in Alabama could destroy voting records in the Roy Moore-Doug Jones race, going against the long-standing rule that these counties preserve the records and the integrity of the race. Other signs of voter fraud came after the election, where several voters bragged that they had come all over the country to cast the votes for Doug Jones. But shockingly, that was only the beginning. Freedom Daily reported, Alabama Secretary of State Nancy Worley turned herself in at the Montgomery County Jail Thursday after her jury indicted her on election fraud, where she is now being charged with 5 felonies and 5 misdemeanors that will no doubt put her behind bars for quite a long time. So 4 long years of stacking the deck against Republicans, which explains how a red state like Alabama suddenly turned blue during the Jones-Moore race. WSFA reports. The indictment charges that Worley broke the law when she read the letter to her employees with the words underlined saying, "I want to ask for your support and your vote in the June 2006 Democratic primary election." She went on to say she had always requested them not to discriminate against anyone because of his or her politics, race, religion, social status. Thus, she says, if you choose to support another candidate, you have every right to make the decision without any problems from me. Worley's attorney says that last statement means employees were not pressured into contributing to her campaign, but Packard sees it differently. Aside from it being illegal, it just seems wrong for an elected official to request money or other kinds of campaign support from the subordinates because of that employer-employee relationship. That could be coercive just by its very nature, he said. He points to other items Worley sent the employees, like a bumper sticker and an envelope to volunteer a request a yard sign. Packard says his complaint represents a number of workers who were reluctant to do anything about it. "I didn't have any reluctance to file a complaint because I believe it takes people standing up and doing the right thing if we expect the right things to happen," he said. Why are these rules continually ignored when they're blatantly clear? Are people really this frantic to stay in power and would be willing to break federal law to make the election go their way? After being caught in massive voter fraud, Worley is currently in hiding, refusing to go on camera. She is facing a whopping 5 felony charges and 5 misdemeanor charges. Moore is still refusing to concede the race and is now in litigation to fight the blatant voter fraud that cost him the election. Amanda Shea from Freedom Daily previously reported, "It's now gone on for 2 weeks since the Republican candidate Roy Moore found himself on the receiving end of dirty politics. This was brought on by his Democrat competitor and has flat out refused to concede because of it. His determination to expose all that has been wrongfully done to him, including allegations of sexual impropriety, seems to have paid off." The special election to replace newly appointed Trump cabinet member Jeff Sessions took another dark turn which could make Moore the winner once and for all. Turnabout is fair play, and Moore has just brought it on now at the end of his relentless pursuit to exonerate himself from all the fraud and allegations used against him, the most controversial senator election of our time. When voter fraud takes place, this is interfering in our democracy process and is a blatant disregard for the will of the American people. The Alabama State Senate race was an enormous hit to the Republican Party. Jones' victory will have significant consequences for Republicans on the national level. Now Democrats are turning their sights towards capturing the last Senate seat up for grabs next year as they work for winning the majority in the Senate.